I got it right now. Perfect. So we are recording. So thank you.
Okay.
I will hand this back to you now. Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Marisol. Right. So where are we? Thank you very much, everybody, and welcome to this writing workshop. And as Marisol said, today we're going to be looking at the Oxford Test of English, the writing module, and the differences between B1 and B2 writing, and what you have to do to get a B2 in the writing. Okay. Well, let's get started. So today, what we're going to look at is we're going to look at some key concepts, some of the important concepts, and how the writing module works in the Oxford Test of English. We're going to look at tips, consejos, and técnicas for improving writing. And this involves looking at the email section of the writing module using functions of opinion, suggestion, and request. For the essays part, looking at organizing your ideas, and for the reviews and articles using a range of descriptive language. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And let's start off by looking at how does the writing module actually work? Well, I'm sure that many of you have already seen how the writing module works in the Oxford Test of English, but some of you perhaps haven't. Some of you perhaps know a little bit, but you'd like to have a clear idea. So there are two parts in the writing test, in the writing module. And writing part one is always writing an email. Okay, and this is what it looks like. So here we have on the screen. On the left, we have the instructions and an email that we have to respond to. And on the right, we have the email that we're going to write. So let's take a look at the instructions. Now, in the Oxford Test of English, in the real exam, what happens is that each one of you will have a different question. So you can't copy. Okay, sorry. And you'll have to answer the email that you get. Everybody gets a different email. Let's take a look at the instructions. Writing part one, you have 20 minutes to write an email. Write 80 to 130 words. You're doing an English course at a language school. First, read the email from Pablo, I guess he's Spanish, one of the students at your class. Then write an email to Pablo, including the 3 notes that you have made. Now, what 3 notes are those? Well, they're there in the email, highlighted in pink and with some sort of pink fuchsia colored letters underneath. Let's take a look at that email. It's from Pablo. The subject is day out. And Pablo says, "Hi, as you know, our course is finishing soon, and I thought we could organize a day out for the whole class." And here, highlighted in this pink color, it says, "What do you think?" And under that, it says your notes. Great, because we continue. "I thought we could either go to the beach or to the museum. Which would you prefer? Say which and why. Can you suggest a good day and time to meet up? Suggest." Now, why do we do this? This is in the Oxford Test of English to help you to know what you have to do, because there's nothing worse than being in a writing exam and thinking, "Oh, I don't know what I have to do." Panic. Where do I start? And you see that time is passing and you're not writing anything. So we want to help you. We give you these 3 things that you have to do. You must answer those 3 things. Okay. And there on the right, you write your email with the keyboard of the computer. Okay. Now, take a look at the top on the right. It says 19:45. Well, that's 19 minutes and 45 seconds. This is the time that you have left to finish this writing task, because you have 20 minutes. So 15 seconds have already passed. Okay. And at the bottom on the left, it says words 0. That's the number of words that you've written. So the system counts the words for you. You don't need to count the words like you do with a pen and paper exam. Okay. And you write your answer here to Pablo's email. Okay. And because you're using a keyboard, well, if you have terrible handwriting, I have terrible handwriting. not calligraphy. It's quite terrible. If you have difficult to read handwriting, it's not a problem, okay, because you're using the keyboard. Now, you can use Control X and Control V to cut and paste the words, okay? So if you say, "Dear Pablo, I think it is an idea very good," and oh no, adjectives go in front in English, a very good idea. You can do that. You can do that with the sentences to put them in a different order. You can put paragraphs in different orders, okay? And you do your writing. Now, you have 20 minutes to do this. And at the end, it's a very good idea that you check, okay? And then you click on next, and this goes up to Oxford, and it's marked by the first team of examiners. 1 or 2 or 3 examiners even mark your exam, okay, in part 1. Then we go to part 2. And in part 2, you have a choice. You choose either an essay or something more creative. Let's take a look. The essay there on the left is something a bit philosophical or a bit sociological, okay? And if you're accustomed to explaining your ideas and your opinions in writing in English, well, this is a great opportunity to show how good your English really is, okay? Look at the example we've got here. It says, some people think using technology makes teenagers less sociable. Do you agree? Well, if you've got a strong opinion about this, if you're a teenager and you're fed up of people telling you you shouldn't be on your mobile phone all day, it makes you unsociable, then this is a great idea for you to write something and defend yourself. Now, perhaps you look at that and you think, nah, I'm not really interested. Okay, then have a look at the other option. The other option is more creative, okay? And it's either to write a newspaper or a magazine article or a review. A review is una crítica of a film or a television program or a website or something, okay? But something more creative. Now, in this example, we have what music means to me. We want you to write an article about music. How important is music in your life? What music do you like to listen to? Do you play an instrument or sing? The best articles will be published over the next few weeks in Say It Loud magazine. Great. Well, that's perhaps more creative. So you choose which one you want to do, the essay or the creative stuff. Either way, you have 25 minutes to write between 100 and 160 words. And when you finish, this goes up to Oxford and it's marked by the second team of 1 or 2 or 3 examiners. So in writing, just the same as in speaking, your result is the evaluation of between 2 and maybe 6 people. Okay, this is a very exhaustive quality control system that we use in Oxford to make sure that your result is correct. So how is it marked? Well, the examiners in England are looking for 4 things, 4 criteria, okay, 4 criterios. These are task fulfillment, organization, grammar, and lexis. Now, task fulfillment, it's cumplir la tarea. So how much have you completed the task? For example, have you answered the question? Have you used the correct format? It says here, register. Now, register is the question of, is it formal or informal? Okay, an email to a friend should be informal, for example. And the length, that's how many words. Okay, have you written, for example, between 80 and 130 in the email, between 100 and 160 in the second task, okay? Then the next thing is organization. This is really important because what you write must be easy to understand. That's the whole sense of writing, isn't it? To communicate to the person who's reading. So we're looking for coherence and cohesion. So we're looking at how it all hangs together and how it all fits in the global context, okay? And it's all correct. And it's easy to read, it's easy to understand, it follows a logical sequence. Then we're looking at grammar, and we're looking here for 2 things, range of structures and accuracy of structures. Well, accuracy is your grammar correct? Okay, and the range. Now, range is a really important word. Range means like gama or envergadura, variedad. Okay, so what are we looking for? We're looking on the one hand for your grammar to be correct, but on the other hand, we want to see you using lots of different things of grammar that you've seen in your English classes. Okay, so it's not enough, it's not sufficient to write English which is perfectly correct. It also has to demonstrate that you have a high level, that you have a B2 level of English. Okay, that's what we're looking for. And finally, lexis. Now, lexis is basically vocabulary, but it's vocabulary with the peculiar grammar that goes around the vocabulary. So it's using the right words, but it's also the words that go with those words. For example, dependent prepositions, like saying compared with, different from, ready for, interested in, things like that. These are questions of lexis. Okay, so that's what they're looking for. And that means that your job is to demonstrate in task fulfillment, organization, grammar, and lexis how good you are. And as I say, it's marked by those two teams. On the one hand, on the left there, writing team 1. Okay, they mark writing part 1. And the team of 1 or 2 or 3 people, right, in team 2, writing 2. Okay, nice and simple like that. Now, the big question here, and this is why we're here this evening, is how can I get a great result? Okay, if I've got a B2 level of English, how do I get a B2 in the exam? And the short answer is you don't get a B2 in an exam because you are B2. You have to prove, you have to show that you're a B2, okay? Because that's what the examiners are going to see. So how do we do that? Well, we're going to look at the 2 parts of writing, and in fact, the 3 different types of task, and what you can do to get a B2, okay? You remember the first part of writing is an email. Now, in the email, one of the most important things that we're looking for, I mean, and this is for all of the writing, but particularly important in the email, is using functions of opinion, suggestion, and request. So using words, language, grammar to explain your opinion, to make suggestions, and to ask the other person to do something. Okay, that's what we're looking for. Now, I'm going to give you an example here. And here is the question. This is a sample. This is it's only an example. Okay, it's not real, but it's one of those emails. Do you remember the email from Pablo about the day out? Well, this student got this task. Hi, Sam. We're going to a festival next weekend. Would you like to come? We're thinking of going by bus. Is that good for you? Also, what food should we take with us? Do you think the weather will be good? Let me know what you think. John. Okay, so that's the question. That's the email that we have to answer. And this is Sam's response. Hi, John. Nice to hear from you. I would like to go. The bus is okay for me. I'll bring sandwiches. The weather's looking nice according to the internet. Okay, so that is Sam's answer. What do you think? Is this a good response? Why? Why not? I'll let you have a think about that for a moment. Maricel, I don't think you're convinced, are you? Right. I think all of you can see what the matter is. It's not bad. It's not bad. There's nothing wrong with this. The grammar is perfectly okay. The English is good.
I would say A2 level, right?
I agree with you, Maricel. This is not a B2. Now, if you have a B2 level and you write this, the problem is that you haven't demonstrated that you've got a B2 level. I agree with Maricel. This is A2 maximum. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Now, there we have it. And here on the right, I've put my comments. Okay, so you can follow, you can read what I'm saying. So first, it answers the questions. It does answer the questions. And the grammar and the vocabulary are fine. There's nothing wrong with the grammar. It's all correct. Okay. The email is too short. Now you have to write between 80 and 130 words. So first, it's too short. one of the instructions was to write between 80 and 130. Okay, if you write something as too short, you haven't obeyed the instructions. Now here we are, limited range of vocabulary. Here's that word range again. What does this mean? There's not much variety of vocabulary. Let's take a look at it again. Hi, John. Nice to hear from you. Oh, nice. Okay, I know that English speakers call everything nice. Everything is nice. It's a nice day. It's nice weather. Nice to meet you. Nice food. Yes, all very nice. Okay, but that's not very B2, is it? Okay, I would like to go. The bus is okay for me. I will bring sandwiches. Now, what words have we got here? Bus, okay, bring, sandwiches, weather, nice again. Okay, this person is not showing a B2 level at all. But most importantly, it doesn't express any requests, any suggestions, any opinions, no response to the invitation. It's totally minimalist. Okay, it really doesn't do anything. It's not interesting to read. It doesn't give a good impression. So, what should Sam have done? Well, how about this? On the left, what Sam did. On the right, what Sam should have done. Hi, John. I'd love to come to the festival. Thanks. Now, how about this? Here we've got some enthusiasm. We can hear the energy. I'd love to come to the festival. Thanks. That's a much better answer than I would like to go. Like you said, I think we should take the bus. So this is an agreement. Okay. Now look at this. I think we should take the bus because it goes straight to the festival site. And the journey's only an hour or so. It's also pretty affordable if we book now. Now look at this, we're using long sentences, we're using a higher level vocabulary, it's more interesting to read, and we've got an explanation there, because. Now look at this next thing, the question about the food. This person is giving back the question, why don't we take a lunch? A great suggestion. Why don't we? How about? What about? We could bring coffee and tea, for example, and some sandwiches. We can buy water when we're there. Would you like to bring some fresh fruit? And to finish, as far as I can see, the weather will be quite nice, according to the internet. I don't think it will rain. Now, I think you can see this is a much better answer. Now, take a look at it as well, because I'm sure that all of you could have written this. I'm sure that all of you have good enough English to write this. Okay, this is where we go from B1 up to a sort of a B2 level. Okay, you can see the difference, can't you? Right. So this is a good response because it's got a wider range of vocabulary and phrases. It doesn't repeat the vocabulary in the question. We've got some synonyms there. We've got a variety of words. And where Sam is asked to join, he says, yes, I would love to come to the festival. Okay, it's more imaginative, it's more creative, it's more interesting, and it shows that level. So take a look at those expressions there. I've underlined in the text some things I want you to see. I'd love to. Why don't we? Would you like to? This one is fantastic. As far as I can see, now that's much better than I think, isn't it? As far as I can see. And I don't think it will rain. Now that's just an extra added on. Okay, but if you're going to a festival, you know how important it is that it doesn't rain. Okay, so now some tips, little pieces of advice, consejos for you. First of all, read the question really carefully. Work out, so descifrar, work out what pieces of information you must include. For example, in the email writing task, there are always 3 things that you have to respond to. Okay, there's 3 things that are indicated in pink or blue, depending on the exam. Okay, but they're illuminated there. Now think about the examiner. The examiner's over there in England, in Oxford, probably working at home with a computer and headphones like me. And this person wants to see something interesting, something complete, something good. This person receives every day many, many, many writing tasks. So they want to see that you've really completed it. For example, If the instructions say to give a suggestion, well, have you given a suggestion? Make sure, if you have put a suggestion in your writing, make sure that it is clear that it's a suggestion. Okay. Or for example, if you had to make a recommendation, is it clear that you've made that recommendation? Okay. You've got those three things that you have to respond to very clearly. And do check those three prompts. Make sure that you can see the correspondence. I had to do this, this, and this. Here they are in my response, here and here and here. And it's clear that I've done that. Okay. If you do that, you're going to get a good result. Now, practice for you. Things that you can do to practice. Well, do practice writing emails. If possible, in English, to your classmates. If you've got friends in other countries that you can write to in English, fantastic. Write to your teacher, okay? And practice 3 pieces of information. Practice expressing your opinion, making a suggestion, or asking for something. Now, use these functions in a message, okay? So when you're sending a WhatsApp message or any other kind of message, think about how well you are communicating to the other person. Think about the person who's going to read your message on their mobile phone, okay? Are they going to understand that you're making a suggestion, that you're asking for something, you're giving an opinion? Check your grammar before you press the next button, okay? Before you complete the task, go through it again. I can tell you that 99% of grammar mistakes are those typical silly mistakes that people make when they know they would never do this in class, but in an exam, people get a bit nervous. So go back and have a look, okay, and check those things. Now, that was the email, okay? The next thing is part 2. And one of the options for part 2 was to write an essay, un ensayo. And what we're looking for here particularly is how well you organize your ideas. And this is really important. You remember the 4 assessment criteria? Organizing ideas was really important. Now, here is another example of an answer that somebody gave us years ago. This was a student called Samir. I think Samir was from the Middle East, from Saudi Arabia or somewhere like that. And here is Samir's answer. 3 questions on the right there. What do you think of Samir's essay? Do you think it's clear? Is anything missing? Well, let's take a look at Samir's writing. People think carefully about the clothes they wear. They want other people to think they look good. Other people might think you look strange and might not want to talk to you. People usually dress smartly for job interviews. Staff who deal with customers usually need to wear clothes of a certain style and standard. Some people worry too much about clothes. Some of my friends spend lots of time shopping for clothes, talking about them and deciding what to wear. Some people spend too much money on clothes and end up with financial problems. Okay, what do you think? Can we have the microphone on mute, please? I can hear some background talking.
Ana, ¿puedes apagar el micrófono?
Thanks. Okay, let's take a look at this then. Well, once again, there's nothing wrong with Samir's writing. The grammar and the vocabulary is fine. Okay, so we can't say that this is a bad piece of writing, but it could be better, couldn't it? How many repetitions have we got here? People, people, some people, other people, other people, some people, people, more people. Clothes, 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 clothes. What's missing? And particularly if we're talking about organizing ideas, well, how about this? Here on the right is one thing that Samir could have done to improve his writing. All that's happened here is we've simply separated one block of text. It's a mathakote, isn't it? It's just one block of text. We've separated it into 3 paragraphs. And these 3 paragraphs are quite logical. The first one is about the opinion of other people. The second is about wearing clothes for work. And the last one is about shopping and talking, the sort of social things of clothes. Okay, just by introducing a space, by pressing intro, enter, twice to go on to the next line and then leave a blank line, already this is looking much better. Okay, so it's clearer now, it's better organized, it's easier to understand, but we can improve. Now, here's an improvement. What we've done is introduce some new text here in bold letters there, in the very black, thick letters there. We've got some improvements. Now, which of these two questions is Samir answering? A or B? Well, yeah, it's question A, because he's not only talking about work, he's talking about lots of other things. Okay, now this is the important thing. The reader, the examiner in Oxford, should be able to understand what you're saying, even if they haven't seen the question. Okay, and this is what we want. We want your writing to be completely clear and respond exactly to the instructions. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Samir has put here now, in my opinion, there are good reasons why people think carefully about the clothes they wear. Now, isn't that better? Instead of people think about the clothes they wear, in my opinion, great. In my opinion, there are good reasons why, and that's another thing, reasons why. That's an example of Lexis, the reason why. It's not the reason because, it's the reason why people think, okay? Generally, it's because, and there is that word because again. Because is a fabulous word, and I really recommend that you use it in your writing because it gives you the opportunity to expand and to say more, to give more information. We move on. If you look dirty or untidy, or your clothes are really unusual or old-fashioned, other people might think you look strange. Okay, here we've got a conditional sentence. Now, it's not necessary to use a conditional sentence in this text, but it's a very good idea because conditional sentences are interesting grammar. They show that you have a higher level if you can use them. The words are not particularly complicated: dirty, untidy, unusual, old-fashioned. This is good. Let's look at the next paragraph. One area of life in which clothes can be important is work. For example, and there, just like because, I really recommend that you use for example. For the same reason, it gives you the opportunity to expand and to talk about your own thoughts, okay? Your writing needs to be personal. It needs to be about your thoughts, what you have to say. And we have also, okay? Now, third paragraph, on the other hand. Now, this is really interesting. This expression, on the other hand, por otro lado, introduces a contrast in the argument. It means that until now, I've been talking about this opinion. From here, the opinion is exactly the opposite. On the other hand, some people worry too much about clothes. And here's another example of Lexis, worry about. We don't worry of or worry for, we worry about. Okay? Some people worry too much about clothes. Some of my friends, for example, again. The problem is, now this is terrific, the problem is indicates that here we are starting to talk about a precise problem, okay? And it takes time away from other more interesting and useful activities. In addition to this, whoa, look at this. This is something extra that I have to say. And at the end, to conclude, now, you need to finish your essay with a clear conclusion. Okay, you must do this. You must have a conclusion at the end, your final thoughts. Here, you shouldn't introduce anything new, and you shouldn't leave the ideas floating in the air. Okay, you need to bring it to a conclusion, and you should indicate that this is a conclusion by saying, to conclude, to sum up, in summary, in conclusion, an expression like this. It's only 2-3 words, okay, but it indicates very clearly what this is. I think it's important for us to think about the clothes we wear, though it's true some people do worry about their clothes too much. Fantastic. Now, don't worry about your own opinion or giving the right. There is no right or wrong answer. Okay, it's your opinion, and you don't even need to say your own real opinion. Okay, because we're not interested in the right or the wrong answer. This is a writing exam. The only thing we're interested in is you showing us that you can write English really well. Okay, so that's what you have to do. So let's try this with another example, organizing your ideas. And here is another example. Part 2, essay. You have 25 minutes to write an essay, write 100 to 160 words. You know that. And here is a concrete example. You have had a class discussion about the importance of good neighbors. Your teacher now wants you to write an essay. The title of the essay is it important to have good neighbors? Write your essay. Now, the essay question is a great opportunity for you to demonstrate how good you are at writing, to organize your ideas effectively and use a variety of expressions. Okay? So, and this is what you must think. You must think in the writing module that this is it's not an exam, it's an opportunity. It's your opportunity to show how good your English is. So now, we looked at Samir's text a moment ago and how it was better with those particular expressions. Take a look at these expressions. These expressions are very, very useful. And I'm sure that you know many more. Okay, your teacher and Maricel can tell you lots more expressions, but this is an idea. Use them. Firstly, this is where we start. Firstly, additionally, on the other hand, to introduce the contrast. For example, another reason is, and you remember one of my favorite words, because. And at the end, finally, or in conclusion. And with these expressions, this is called signposting. This is like indicating the direction, like signs on the road. That's signposting. This way to Huesca, this way to Barcelona. Okay, that's signposting. So signposting in language is just the same thing. It's to indicate to the reader where you're going. Okay, if you do this, you're making it very clear to the examiner how well organized your ideas are. So this is what you have to do. These are the words and expressions that guide them through what you're doing. So here they are in categories. To talk about your opinion, for example, in my opinion, it seems to me that, well, this is better than I think, I think, I think. Everybody can say, I think, and it's correct, but it's not B2, is it? We want, in my opinion, it seems to me that, or even, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. Now, for ordering, we've got expressions like firstly, secondly, next. Okay. One advantage is, another advantage is. Now, for expanding, now we've got because, furthermore, moreover. All of this is much better than just and. Okay. This means that esto significa que, the problem is that, and for example, for instance. Now, I'm sure you all know for example. For instance is a synonym. It means exactly the same. For instance means for example. So if you have already said in the second paragraph, for example, you've said, for example, you don't want to repeat. Next time you say, for instance. Okay, and it's not so repetitive. Now for contrast, so to indicate that, so up to here, this has been the argument, this has been the opinion. Now, from this point, we change in the opposite direction. However, sin embargo, on the other hand, por otra parte, okay, use these expressions. Please use these expressions in your writing. Okay, they help to organize and to conclude. In conclusion, to sum up, etc. Use these expressions. Now, organizing your ideas in paragraphs. Right at the beginning, I showed you how Samir's mazacote was much better when it was broken into 3 paragraphs. Here we've got 4 paragraphs in a text. I think it's really important to have good neighbors. The second paragraph is, your neighbors matter because they're the people that live closest to your home. Number 3, if you have good neighbors, you are less likely to experience problems. And number 4, such as loud music at night or your litter in the street outside your home. Now, each of these ideas corresponds to a particular sort of function or concept. At the bottom, can you match the descriptions to the part of the paragraph? So here we have A, B, C, D. We have opinion, example, justification, and reason. So paragraph 1, what is that? Is it opinion, example, justification, or reason? Yeah, it's an opinion, isn't it? It's an opinion, and you should start with the opinion. The opinion is a great place to start. This is what impacts on the reader and makes them think, whoa, yes, that's interesting. Essays are about communicating what you think clearly to the person who's reading. Your opinion should be clear throughout. Now, perhaps you don't know throughout. Throughout is all the way through, continuously through all of your essay. Don't leave it to the end to say what you think. Don't put your opinion at the end. Okay, put it right at the beginning. Now, the second paragraph is a reason. Okay, your neighbors matter because, and here we have the because, and this shows you how useful this word is. You also have to persuade with an essay. So you need to give reasons why. Because, okay, your neighbors matter. They're important. They matter because they're the people who live closest to your home. Number 3 is the justification for that. So if I've said that your neighbors are important, I need to justify that, okay? That this supports my reason, and it makes the argument easy to understand. And here we've got an example of that justification. For example, loud music at night, litter in the streets, and expressions like such as, for example, for instance, okay? This helps you also to expand and to illustrate your argument. Okay, so one more thing. Simple signposting is often more appropriate than complex ones. Also, remember that you have a limit of words that you can write. So perhaps you've seen in books or on the internet some very long expressions, such as, for example, these days it is very common for many people to say that ba-bum, ba-bum, ba-bum. On the one hand, many people and experts claim that don't write all of that. That's unnecessary. Okay, keep the signposting short and clear to indicate where you are going with your argument. Okay, and use that range, use the variety in your vocabulary and your grammar structures. So, tips for you on this one. What can you do? Don't try to include everything in your essay. Sometimes when you're writing the essay, you get started, you discover you have 25 opinions about something. You have lots to say. Well, okay, that's terrific, but you can't. You simply don't have time, okay? So just choose, a few opinions. It's better to have just 2 points which are clearly indicated, signposted, and they're expanded with justifications and examples. That's much better than just a list of 4 points. Okay, for example, why is it great to live in a cottage in the country? Peace and quiet, nature, no pollution, and birds singing in the morning. No, come on. It's better just to have 2 of those and explain why. Peace and quiet, because there's no noise from traffic or neighbors. There's no pollution, because you're out in the country, etc. Okay, much better to work and expand those 2 points. Remember, yeah, you have a limit of time and words. Keep everything, please, really clearly organized, okay? And you can use these organizing techniques for all of your writing, even for the creative things. And be careful with the register. Don't write formal English if it should be informal, or vice versa, okay? So if it's an email to a friend, that should be informal. So it's, hi, John, how are you? It's not, dear sir or madam, thank you very much indeed for your email. I am writing to request. No, that's not appropriate. Okay, so be careful with those things. Okay, good. And what can you do to practice? Well, look at how other writers organize their ideas. Look out for examples in textbooks, on the internet, of how people introduce and organize their ideas. Perhaps you can find some more interesting expressions that you can use. Look at how the ideas are connected. And if you've got a piece of paper in front of you, you can underline, yeah, the particular structures and expressions to indicate these. Perhaps you can use them in your essay. Also, only use expressions that you can use confidently. Don't try to use expressions that are very elaborate and that they're not you. Okay, be authentic in your writing and don't try to say something which somebody told you years ago as a curiosity in English, like it's raining cats and dogs. Nobody says that. Okay, right? So use expressions that you know are correct. Okay, they're good, they're high level, they show your B2 level, but you know you're going to use them correctly. Practice organizing your ideas, and please also write things for your teacher. Ask your teacher to help you. Look out for expressions and mistakes. Okay, and ask somebody to check. Now, finally, in part 2 of writing, we had the other option, which was more descriptive. And this is my favorite part, quite honestly, using a range of descriptive language. Now, here, we're going to imagine that this person decided to write, looks like an answer to, what did you do in your last holiday? Take a look. This summer, we went to Australia on holiday. We stayed in a hotel next to a beach. We had rooms with furniture. The restaurant served food, and I'll never forget the waiter who served our table. Okay, it's like the others, isn't it? There's nothing wrong with it. It's perfectly correct. There's no mistakes. But look at the vocabulary. Summer, went, holiday, hotel, beach, rooms, furniture, restaurant, food, forget, waiter, serve, table. This isn't B2. It's perfectly correct. But if you write this, I'm afraid you're not going to get a B2. And you have a B2, but this doesn't show a B2 level, does it? Okay, this is A2, very poor B1 maximum. Okay, let's take a look at it again. We went to Australia on holiday. Wow! I mean, that's something really special, going to Australia on holiday. You know, that should be exciting and interesting. This is just boring. We went to Australia on holiday. You know, next summer we're going to Gandia. We're going to the Pueblo. Somebody goes, this is once in a lifetime. I'm expecting something exciting here. We stayed in a hotel next to a beach. Yeah, okay, that's great. But that's also very common, very normal. We had rooms with furniture. I hope so. If you stay in a hotel, I hope there's a bed and a chair in the room. The restaurant served food. Now that really is surprising. I've never seen a restaurant that serves food. And the waiter, I'll never forget the waiter who served our table. Well, if you'll never forget him, why don't you tell us why you'll never forget him? Okay, this student has lost all of the opportunities to produce a fabulous B2 writing. So let's improve it. This summer, we went to Australia on holiday. We stayed in a gorgeous hotel next to a stunning, peaceful beach. We had enormous rooms with elegant, modern furniture. The restaurant served freshly cooked food, and I'll never forget the hilarious waiter who served our table. It was affordable too. I think you'll agree this is much better. So what's happened? What have we done here? Well, I think you can see all we've done is include some adjectives. Okay, some interesting, some exciting adjectives. Okay, let's take a look at this. There in the table on the right, we have the meanings. Look at this. Very big, quiet, classic and attractive, made recently, very funny, new, beautiful, very beautiful. Now look at these words. All of these words are A2. Yeah, basically they're A2. And many of them are similar to Spanish, aren't they? Classic, attractive, recently. Others, yeah, I mean, funny, beautiful. There's nothing wrong with these words. They're perfectly correct, but they don't indicate that you have a B2 level. So what words in that text mean these things? For example, very big. Can you see a word in that text that means very big? I'm sure you found it. In the third line on the right, we had enormous rooms. Now, what's the difference? We had big rooms. We had enormous rooms. Okay, isn't that better? Quiet. We've got an adjective in there that means quiet. I think it's in the third line too. And I think it's to do with the beach. Peaceful. Okay, why would you say quiet if you can say peaceful? Okay, well, let's take a look at this. There they are. Instead of saying very big, say enormous. Instead of saying quiet, say peaceful. Instead of classic and attractive, elegant. Made recently. Made is okay, but we would say freshly cooked. Very funny. Now, funny is one of those words like nice. Everybody uses funny, everybody uses nice, and let's face it, all of the other students are going to say nice and funny and words like that, okay? So instead of funny, how about this? Hilarious. What does hilarious mean? Hilarious is que me parto. I was crying, laughing. It was hilarious. Okay, the waiter was hilarious. What a fantastic waiter we had. He was so funny. He was hilarious. New. Okay, new. Great. How about modern? Beautiful. Now, beautiful, everybody uses that word. Gorgeous. Now, gorgeous, that's an interesting word, isn't it? It's much more interesting, much more B2 than beautiful. Beautiful is like A2, B1. Very beautiful, stunning. Now, stunning, what does that mean? Stunning is something that is so beautiful that your mouth is open. Wow! No, that could be a place. It could be a picture. It could be a person. Okay? It could be the beach. It's stunning. Wow! Okay? Use these words. If you know these words, please use them. Look for the opportunity to use them in your writing. Okay? So tips for you. It's not enough to have a B1 or a B2 level. You have to show that you have that level. The examiners don't know you. Okay? Maricel and your teachers know you. Okay, they know that you've got a B2 level, but you have to show in the exam that you have a B2 level. So try to expand your vocabulary in class, at home, and use that vocabulary in the exam. And when you're writing something creative, you're often describing something. So use adjectives. It's a very simple way of making your writing so much better. Okay. So in this workshop, we've seen the key concepts of writing and how the Oxford Test of English writing module works. We've looked at tips and techniques for improving your writing. We looked at functions of opinion, suggestion, and request in the emails. So in the emails, you have to give your opinion about something. You have to make a suggestion. You have to ask somebody to do something. And you have to make it very clear that you are giving an opinion, that you are suggesting, you are asking for something. That has to be clear. Organizing your essays, your ideas in the essay. This is really important in the essay, but it's important in everything. Make it clearly organized. Okay? They like that. That's what they're looking for. Nice and clear. And that range, that variety of descriptive language. Look for language, expressions, and grammar that you can use to impress the examiners. The examiner reads this and thinks, wow, this is stunning. This person has a high B2 level. Wow, look at those words. Look at that, a conditional expression. Here's a passive, okay? If I were you, I would. Wow, that's terrific. Okay, that's what we're looking for. So this brings us to the end of the workshop, and now it's time for me to stop presenting and to come back with you and with Maricel. And do you have any questions? Anything you'd like to comment?
Wow, no questions. Okay, we were talking about the emails, and like we said in previous workshop, we mentioned the different reasons for writing emails, right, Simon? And
Yes.
said that we've worked this in class, and the teachers here at Switch are working on it, which is for inquiry, for apology, to apologize. So you need, vocabulary to apologize. You need vocabulary to complain about something, because it might be an email to complain, so you're writing an email to complain, or you're writing an email to congratulate someone on something. So we need that type of vocabulary. Advice.
Absolutely.
So we always need advice, right? And like we said, generally in the Oxford one is suggestion. You are going to suggest something. We need to work on different ways of suggesting. Instead of always saying, I suggest, I suggest, I suggest, we can think of a different way of saying suggest. Okay.
That's absolutely, yeah, I completely agree with you, Maricel. Yeah, I suggest is what everybody can say. I mean, everybody can say that, can't they? I suggest. So how about, what if, etc. Yeah,
Or we could say, perhaps we could, and then
yeah,
change it.
I
Exactly.
like that.
Exactly, perhaps, and instead of suggest. And then the invitation and thank you. Like we said before, the thank you. It's like, okay, there are so many different ways to say thank you, right? I'm very pleased. I'm happy to say, or things like that, right? When we say thank you. I don't know, it's just a way, oh, I really appreciate it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's
I
a good
really
one.
appreciate it. It's much more interesting than thank you, isn't it? I mean, thank you's okay. Thank you's very nice. It's great to say thank
I'm
you.
very grateful. Thanks for the
Yeah,
invitation, right? I'm very grateful. So I think it's great to just have different ideas and to write things down. We do, like I said before, I have my chuleta, and most of our students have it. And then we have the phrases, right? We give out personal opinions to say, like you were saying, in my opinion, or I think. And we're always saying the same thing, in my opinion, or I think. Or we can always say, from my point of view, right? And then just
yes,
say what you think, right? Or to my mind,
yes,
and then just write on it. So it's great.
completely.
It continues, like Simon said, you don't need a specific book to prepare the Oxford exam. All books prepare this type of exams because there's nothing specific. Okay, I mean it's all listening, reading, the speaking, and then the speaking we do practice in class. And then the writing, we need to remember we're going to write an email and we're going to write an essay, a review, or an article. You can choose. And you have about a minute and 50 seconds to choose which one you're going to write. Okay, before it, so that you can have a general idea of what you're going to write about. And you do have 25 minutes. So it's great to just kind of brainstorm.
Yes, most people finish before the 25 minutes in writing two. Normally the 20 minutes for the email and the 25 minutes for writing two is more than enough time. You've got plenty of time. So I would really recommend that when you've written your work, check it for the grammar. But also, if you have a couple of minutes, if you have 2 or 3 minutes, also I recommend that you look at your writing and think, okay, this is good. How can I make it even better?
Can I add an
Okay.
adjective?
Mm.
Instead of saying cold, can I say freezing? Or instead of
Yes.
saying funny, can I say hilarious? Right? Yeah, you just got to work around it. Write the general idea, get it all out, and then go over it and see, okay, how can I better this? Because remember, you can always better your best, right?
Yes.
So yes, you can always get better. So it's just a matter of really working hard on the writing and getting people just to check it, like teachers to check it and go over it. Okay. So
Fabulous.
that's about the advice we can give, right, Simon?
That's right. Well, if there aren't any more questions, in that case, I'll say goodbye to everybody. Thank you all very much for coming and participating in this webinar. Big thank you to Maricel and everybody at Switch Idiomas, a wonderful team of people, for inviting me to be here with you. And I would like to wish all of you the best of luck, very good luck with your Oxford Test of English Writing. I'm sure you'll do very well indeed. Enjoy
Thank you,
it.
Simon. It was lovely having you today. It was fantastic. It was such an honor. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.